Hello boys and girls, this is Sit, Paint, and Play once again. I am going to go ahead and start doing a new series called Start Collecting Age of Sigmar. Um, Basically the idea is for me to uh, go over all the Start Collecting boxes by Games Workshop, and today we're going to be going over Skaven. Um, Basically what I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you all the units that come with it. Their movement, their save, their bravery, their wounds, and then I'll talk a little bit about like their abilities and maybe some other side notes and stuff like that that are included in the description for them. So yeah, I thought I'd start with Skaven because so far this has been my favorite army to look at. I think that they're really interesting, and I think they're kind of one of the forerunners right now for Age of Sigmar. I think a lot of new stuff's coming out for them right now, so they're definitely um, a high interest of a lot of people, so I thought I would go over them. The Start Collecting Skaven box comes with a Plague Furnace, which is your hero, Plague Claw, Catapult, and Plague Monks. The Skaven are considered a Nurgle army. They are undead, pestilence, things like that, in a way, kind of like zombies a little bit. But the Plague Furnace is interesting. It has 12 wounds, and depending on how many wounds it has is how it performs. So its movement is marked with an asterisk, and that asterisk has you refer to the table, and you can move, I think it's something like 3 or 4 inches, I believe, at full health by yourself, and then with every 3 rats within 1 inch of the Plague Furnace, it moves an additional inch. So that's kind of how that works. You can get it going really fast if you want it to. It is a strength, it has a, 4+ save. It has 10 bravery and 12 wounds. This is going to be your hero, and in a way, it is a close range thing. It is the only kind of shooting attack it has is it goes only about 3 inches out. So honestly, it's melee. But basically, all it is a giant ball and chain on a big scaffolding. Its shooting attack is a 3 inch out with a diameter of 2 inches from that spot on that 3 inches. Around that point, for a 4+ wounded, for a 4+ on a 4+, you wound, and you have to refer to the chart also with that shooting attack. Now, this being said, that can damage you or your enemy. So you kind of have to be careful who's nearby. It has poisonous fumes. During the hero phase, you roll a die for units within 3 inches of the furnace. On a 4+, they get D3 mortal wounds. I'm not going to lie, the Skaven are pretty intense. They get a lot of mortal wounds out there, so they're pretty awesome. It has Icon of the Horned Rat. Within 5 inches of the furnace, it increases all allies which are labeled under Pestilence. It gives them an additional 1 bravery. So if you got a bunch of monk plague monks around it, it's definitely going to help you out. And then there's 2 prayers that the quote-unquote priest that's writing this can give out, and they're both on a 3+. Within 13 inches, make an attack. Allied unit within 13 inches gets to make an attack if it falls in battle. So it kind of goes into a crazed frenzy, I believe, is what the power is called. And if they die, then they kind of go down in flames. So, and then the next prayer is you get to re-roll failed to wound rolls. So that's can be pretty devastating, depending on who you're fighting. So that's your Plague Furnace. Like I said, its attacks are the giant spike ball. If you have 10 Plague Monks within an inch of it, you get to roll a die on a charge, and you get 2d6 attacks instead of only 1d6. So that can kind of help charge that in there and get things destroyed. Um, and then also, so they have that, and then they have something called spikes and daggers, I believe. And it's basically it's a 1-inch attack out from the sides, and it's basically just like the wheel spikes. And then the crew that runs it, they have daggers, so you have a chance to defend yourself. So the Plague Furnace is pretty intense. I know a lot of its abilities can hurt the Plague Monks, so you kind of have to be careful. It's all on a 6+ though, so you really don't have to worry as much, but it's still a small percentage chance that you can still kill your own guys. So you got to be careful with that. Personally, I think this is an awesome thing. The spike ball thing, definitely, if you charged it in and then threw that, and then the next turn in the shooting phase went ahead and blasted the spike ball out there, you could take out a good chunk of a unit or a whole unit if they were all compiled into trays. So it depends on how you guys are playing. Next, we're going to talk about the Plague Claw Catapult. This is going to be your ranged weapon. It is literally just a catapult that slings slime and nasty. It has an ability called... Oh, sorry, I need to go over its stats. It has a 3-inch movement, which is okay because you really don't need to move it all that much. It has a 5+ save, which kind of stinks, but whatever. It has 4 bravery, doesn't really matter because you're going to have it in the backfield anyway. And then it has 6 wounds. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it has something like a 36-inch range. So it has a good chunk of space before people are going to be able to get to it. Anyways, it has the ability Ponderous War Machine, which gives it a +1 save roll in the shooting phase. So that can kind of save it from ranged units. It has something called Arc Shot, which allows you to hide it behind cover. So basically, you can park it behind a building, and you don't have to worry about being able to see the enemy to call fire upon them. And then enemy units within 10 inches get... Hold on, how did I write this out? I'm sorry. Oh, that's right. Okay. So if an enemy unit is coming at you and you fire at them and there's 10 people or more, you get a +1 to your hit roll, and you increase the damage to 2d6 instead of just 1d6. So basically it's like a area of effect type thing. So if you hit them, it's going to knock them out pretty quick if they're in a bigger squad. So this definitely, I think, is a useful area of effect weapon. It could whittle down some squads and stuff that are kind of coming your way before they get really into your guys, which is kind of something you want to avoid because the Plague Monks don't have very good bravery. Speaking of which, Plague Monks. So we're looking at Plague Monks. They have a 6-inch movement, pretty average. They do not have a save, which I guess I'm not surprised by, but I was kind of like, oh, that's a bummer. So, not a big deal though. They do have 5 bravery, which is better than your catapult somehow, and they only have 1 wound each. So, Plague Monks. If they are carrying, they are going to be your basic troop choice. If they are carrying more than 1 blade, it's the blade that starts with an F that they carry in general, no matter what. You get to re-roll failed hits, so it's kind of like having twin link daggers. They have an ability called Frenzy. Units make 3 attacks on the charge instead of 2. They have things called Plague Scrolls. Enemy units within 13 inches of the priest. It allows you to do failed ones on the 2 wound. So if you're attacking and you do this Plague Scroll, whenever you go to attack, if you roll any 1s to wound, then you get to re-roll them. There is I think it's a Banner of Woes or something. It's something along the lines of something that they carry. It's a 13-inch. Within 13 inches, units on a 4+ take a mortal wound. So it's an area of effect weapon. So if you're in the middle of a bunch of guys or something like that, it's definitely going to be awesome to take those out. Whether it was not specified whether that was if those units were friendly or foe. So let's see, the icon of pestilence. Um, let's see, if a rat dies on a 6+, enemy takes a mortal wound. So basically, it's like uh, the rats have become so pestilent and like disease ridden that their blood is infectious, and on a 6+, it can give an enemy a mortal wound. Um, the contagion on a 6 to wound, roll an additional dice. On another 6, they get an additional mortal wound on top of the damage that they already received. So it's basically this contagion banner is basically a way just to add attacks, add mortal wounds to your already existing mortal wounds. The Doom Gong, basically you ring it and then enemies have a -1 charge distance if they're within 12 inches of you. So if they have a 12-inch charge distance or something like that, that might save your bacon. So, and then the Bale chimes on a 6+, wound, you get -1 rending. So if you're wounding and you get a 6+, then you're gonna get -1 rending on that enemy. So definitely a solid army to get started with. Personally, this is probably the army that I'm going to choose for my Chaos breed. I definitely might mix some Blood Crusher or some Blood Letters in there with them to get some solid melee down. But most definitely, this is a really strong start. You have your Plague Furnace, which is your hero, which is going to be pretty strong. It has a ton of wounds. It's going to be super powerful whenever it gets in there and starts attacking things. With that charge, you can use your Plague monks to push it into and get it way closer to the enemy faster so it can get in there and do its damage. And then while they're in there, you have all your area of effect things that only hurt your Plague monks on a 6+. So you're not going to be losing very many of them, whereas all the other enemies are going to be losing stuff on like 3 and 4+. And then you're just going to have that Plague Claw catapult that's going to be backing up in the backfield. You can just park it behind the building, behind a forest, whatever, behind a hill. If an enemy can't see it, then it's definitely going to save your life there pretty much. So you can kind of use it maybe to ward off flanking attacks and things like that. So anyways, I know this was kind of down and dirty and I didn't go over all the stats of each and like the attacks and stuff like that of each one, but maybe it gives you a more general idea of what's going on with these guys and maybe if you want to play them. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this and I will continue posting videos as soon as possible. Thanks for sticking around.